G-Day, people! This is Sharpino here, welcoming you guys to Week 8 tier of the PMC League Battles. This week we are having the rematch that we've been dying for since we got our ass kicked in Week 1. It is a rematch of the Australians. It's a rematch against the Tampa Bay Frogadiers. Now, since we have competed against them, their team has changed quite a bit actually since last we left. So let's go ahead and have a look at his team here. So, he does have some same threats as last time, but he has some different threats along the way. So, he still has the Kieran Black. He has Mew. He has the Ferrothorn, the Ember, the Jolteon, the Olomola, Granbull, Spiritomb, Tyrantrum, Weezing, and Mega Pidgeot. Now, Mega Pidgeot is actually a little bit different. Honestly, I personally think that Mega Pinsir is better than Mega Pidgeot, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know how to use it better. For all I know, he could kick my ass with Mega Pidgeot. I don't know. The long story short, he has some new Pokemon, so we have to prep and make sure that we are ready. Because at the moment, we are at the bottom of our division at 4-3, because the other two teams are 5-2. And we actually get to verse those two teams this week and next week. So hopefully, we can come with the win. So that is their team there. Let's go ahead and have a look at what I brought and why. First and foremost, T-Flame, Talonflame, Bay, Sharpbeak, Gale Wings, Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, Roost. Now we have Taunt. Now the reason why we have Taunt, because what I've noticed is in his team he has a lot of bulky mons. Ferrothorn, he uses Granbull like a defensive mother. If you've watched the Verd in his PMC battles, and he has the Olomola and everything else. So really, Taunt just makes sure that those threats get neutralized. Basically, it forces him to use offensive moves only. So what we can do is we can go ahead, we can taunt the Ferrothorn to prevent the Thunder Wave Stealth Rock. We can taunt the Granbull in case he wants to bring that defensive set again with Sleep Talk and Rest and everything else. Because he did tell me about it actually after our first match, and I was just like, wow. But then he also has Alomomola, which does have that potential for Wish, Protect, Toxic, and that one Skull move. So we do have our options as far as those defensive mons. And then we have Roost just to recover up. So we do have our options, and hopefully our Talonflame will be prepped properly to take on these defensive mons. Next we have our Alakazam here, Focus Sash, Magic Guard, with Psychic, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power Fire. Now the Hidden Power Fire is for Ferrothorn. I don't like being set up in a matchup with that Ferrothorn. Now the only reason I can see why he would survive a Hidden Power Fire is if he's either Focus Sash or very specially defensive invested. But I'm not too sure. I can't, off the top of my head, I haven't done the calcs. I'm pretty sure that it will kill a Ferrothorn regardless. And then we have Knockoff. Now, Knockoff I've put on Alakazam this week just because I've realized a lot of Pokemon on the Verge team do rely on some leftovers. They rely on certain items. The worst case scenario though is being locked in with that Spiritomb. Once we're locked in with that Spiritomb, I know he's packing that freaking Assault Vest, he's packing that Pursuit, Sucker Punch. So either way, once we get locked in with Spiritomb, we're pretty fucked. So either way, I think this is just going to be a bit of a bad matchup. But I didn't bring Mega Sableye this week just because I didn't think Mega Sableye really had a good matchup against a lot of the Pokemon that he has this week. Mega Pidgeot, no guard, would definitely wreck it. But yeah, other than that though, I just think Alakazam could do some work. The only worst case is if he brings in that Spiritomb. So we have to make sure that when we bring in Alakazam that we are able to predict when the Spiritomb is coming in so we don't get Pursuit trapped. Next, we have Virizion. Now, we were drafting Virizion in one match, but we weren't able to use it. I think that was against the Misty Drapion in the week 4. This week though, Virizion does it checks a lot of Pokemon on his team. So Virizion, based off what I thought, it does check the Kieran Black, it does check the Ferrothorn, it does check the Alomomola, it can check the Tyrantrum, and it can, like I said, it checks quite a few Pokemon. Now, I would go for Choice Scarf, but I'm just afraid of being locked in certain moves based off certain situations. So instead I've gone for an Expert Belt Jolly set with Leaf Blade, Close Combat, Stone Edge, and Swords Dance. Now, obviously the worst case scenario is that we do get Will-O-Wisp, but at this point the only Pokemon I see that has access to Will-O-Wisp on his team is the Mew and the Weezing. They're the only two Pokemon I can say, maybe even the Emboar as well. I mean, that's a stretch, but basically he would be outsped, and basically we can get the free hit on Emboar. And Emboar has absolutely no defense, just saying. So hopefully we can predict switches, go for a Swords Dance, and do some damage with Expert Belt. So hopefully we can do some damage. Even if he doesn't bring a defensive Alomomola, we can predict the switching and go, or, okay, doubt he would keep it in, but I mean if he does, we do have Swords Dance, we do have the Leaf Blade, so hopefully we'll be wrecking some Pokemon there with that. Next off we have Tyranitar. Now, Tyranitar, we've got Lumberry, like we did again in week 4. Lumberry because Will-O-Wisp, because Mew and everything else can pack Will-O-Wisp. I just don't want to be in a situation where we get Will-O-Wisp and we get absolutely destroyed. Now, based on certain situations, we do have Stone Edge, we do have Pursuit, we do have Fire Blast, and we do have the Stealth Rock. This is going to be a specially defensive Tyranitar. Now, based off what I'm assuming he's going to bring, the Stone Edge is for obviously the Kyurem and the Mega Pidgeot, the Pursuit is for the Mew. Once we can trap Mew, that'll be fantastic. Fire Blast is for Ferrothorn, just on the off chance that we both do start off with the fire. We both pretty much start off with our Rockers. So basically, if we have speed, which more like we will, we can go after that Fire Blast and it will kill the Ferrothorn with no problems. And then we have Stealth Rock, because on his team, the only Pokemon that does have Defog, or could have Defog, I'm pretty sure Pidgeot has access to Defog. I'm not 100% sure, I haven't checked. But I know Mew can get Defog, so if I know him, he'll bring in the Mew to Defog. But on the off chance that he does bring in the Mew, we do have the Pursuit. On the off chance he wants to swap it out. So we do have Pursuit there as an option to trap that Mew. Next we have Jellicent, Leftovers, Water Absorb for the Alomomola, Skull, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp, and Recover. Now this can check a few Pokemon. It can check the Kyurem Black, depending on what set he brings. It can definitely do work on the Mew. It can check the Alomomola, except if he goes for Skull, for Toxic, because basically once he sets up Toxic, basically it's a stall wall with us, because he sets up Toxic, we set the Will-O-Wisp, but we're going to end up losing more health because of Toxic. So basically, hopefully, worst case scenario, we can bring in the Talonflame, or we can bring Jellicent on a taunted Alomomola, but we'll just see how things go here. Just because, like I said, we just have to predict those situations where we're going to be possibly trapped. But like I said, Skull, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp, and Recover. Also, another bad matchup is the fact that we do have the potential to get Pursuit trapped on a Spiritomb, which hopefully doesn't happen. I realise that on our team we do have quite a bit of weakness to darkness, but hopefully the Virizion should be able to, the Virizion and Tyranitar should be able to handle that Ghost and Dark weakness. So obviously another worst case is obviously that Jolteon that could potentially show up to do Shadow Balls as well, do the damage, but obviously he's going to go for that Thunderbolt. And then lastly we have Cryogonal. Now the first week we really didn't get to really use Cryogonal to its best potential. Now this week we've gone ahead, we brought in the Cryogonal, but not the same set we brought before. Now we're bringing a modest Cryogonal. We've got Freeze Dry for the Alomomola, also to hurt the Mega Pidgeot as well. We've got Flash Cannon. Flash Cannon can take care of the Kyurem Black and also do damage to the Granbull. So we have our options here and there. Rapid Spin in case he wants to set rocks on us, because it is going to be a bitch if he does get those rocks on us. And Water Pulse. Now, the only reason why things are going to be a little bit different this week is because of Focus Sash. Now, what I've noticed is that freaking Emboar has freaking Reckless Sucker Punch, and it wrecks holes on my team left and right. I kid you not. So what we're going to do is hopefully, if we get this to work, hopefully what we can do is we can try to get Cryogonal in on the Emboar. Hopefully he can think that we are going to be Sucker Punched, when in actuality we're going to go for a Water Pulse, so we can destroy his Emboar. And then what happens is once we get an Emboar, Tyranitar and Virizion have a bit more freedom, because basically Emboar does wreck our team quite well. But we brought Jellicent this week to kind of answer that Emboar, but you just never know. He could have a different answer for Jellicent. I don't know. But that's the beauty of the Wi-Fi battle. It's just these team preps just to kind of predict what the other person is going to bring. So hopefully, like I said, we can come in with the W this week. Now, if we are able to beat the Bird this week, and lucky next week, we definitely have some good chances to make the playoffs. But it all comes down to wins at the moment, because at the moment we are, like I said, at the bottom, because we are 4-3 and the other teams are on 5-2. So there we go. So we need to win this week, next week, and the last week as well against Tyler and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So hopefully we can come in with the W. Hopefully we prepared well for this team here. I definitely feel like we've prepared a lot better this week than the first week that we did, when I was just focusing on Chun Black and Mega Pincer. So hopefully with this set, hopefully with this team here, we can bring in the win. Hopefully we can bring in the W and bring it home for the Sydney Krookodiles. So stay tuned for the Wi-Fi battle, and until the next time I see you guys, stay safe, stay sharp, and I will catch you guys all next time. Later!